Many years ago in Odinga town, there lived a young couple named Ojiugo. She was married to Okafor. Okafor was a successful businessman. He traveled to the far north to buy yams, which he sold both in wholesale and in retail to his customers. He was a major distributor of yams in that town and its environs. Ojugo and her husband Okafor were very close to each other. They shared this great bond that was admired by both young and old. Okafor loved Ojugo so much. He made sure that she lacked nothing. He bought her lots of gifts whenever he traveled. He also made sure he bought her kilishi, a well-known beef snack which was common in the north. Ojugo got addicted to this snack after Okafor introduced it to her when they were still courting. Ojugo and Okafor have been married for the past 5 years. They had no child. They have hoped and prayed that God would bless them with their own child. Ojugo and Okafor did not allow their childlessness to come in between their love for each other. So in the 60th of their marriage, God remembered Ojugo and her husband. Ojugo became pregnant and they were both very happy. When they confirmed her pregnancy, they bought and got everything ready for the birth of their first child. One evening, when Okafor returned from his business. As they ate dinner together, Ojigo asked Okafor, "Honey, would you prefer we have a baby boy first or a baby girl?" She said jokingly. "I would love to have a baby girl first. I always know I want a baby girl. I want to experience what it is having a girl as my first child. I really love the bond between the first daughter and their father. I look forward to having one with my daughter," he said, smiling, rubbing her belly as Ojiugo giggled. She was happy that they both shared the same thoughts and wish. She have always loved to have a daughter too. It's her first child. Few weeks to the due date of Ojiugo, Okafor had to travel to the north as usual. Buy yams. He was preparing so well for the birth and welcoming of their child. He decided that this time he was going to buy the yams in large quantity, that there would be no need for him to travel immediately after Ojugo's delivery. That morning before he traveled, he promised Ojugo that he was coming back soon. "Honey," he said to her that morning, "you know I need to make this trip. We need this money and we have to keep our customers too. You know that very soon I'll be putting to bed. I don't want to have this baby when you will not be around. Ojugo, don't worry. I will definitely be back before you have this child. Please remember to buy more kilishi for me. Oh. The one you bought the other time is almost finishing. I will buy you a lot of kilishi this time," he said, smiling as he left the house. But unfortunately, on his way back, he got involved in a car crash, which claimed his life. When the sad news got to his friends, they could not imagine their young, vibrant friend, who just traveled few days back, was no more. How were they going to break this news to Ojugo? Considering her condition, they decided to hide it from her, but they only disclosed it to her family and Okafor's family. Both families knew what has happened to their son and son-in-law. They wept bitterly to their tears, pretending to Ojugo that all was well. It was now over a week since Okafor's death. Still, Ojugo have not seen or heard from her husband. She was perturbed. Sister Akudo, who came over to stay with her, reassured her that all was well. "Sister," she said to her one evening when Ojugo refused to eat. She has not had breakfast nor lunch that day. She looked pale and sick. I was worried about her health. Akudo pleaded with Ojugo. "Please now, sister, you have to force yourself and eat something. Don't let this situation overwhelm you. You know you need this food for yourself and your child. Please, sister, I'm sure brother is fine. Maybe their car developed a mechanical fault. Don't forget about how bad our roads are. But this is not the first time brother is staying this long and would still return back. I assure you that brother is fine. Akudo, my sister, I know my husband. I believe all is not well. God forbid, sister. Brother is fine. I'm just having this fear within me that something bad may have happened to Okafor. Just pray that nothing bad have happened to Okafor. Anything bad happens to him, Where will I start from? She said, almost crying. Please now, sister, take it easy now. So after much talk, Ojiugo did manage to eat some food that night before retiring for the night. As days went by, it became clear to Ojiugo that all was not well with her husband. Even though she could not fathom what it was, she knew something was amiss, but she could not place it. Whenever any of Okafor's friends came to visit her, she made them know that she was afraid. This is unlike my husband, your friend. I don't know why this trip is taking this long. It's going to 3 weeks now. Is there no way you people can locate your friend? I have been having these serious nightmares for some nights now, but they did everything to dismiss her fears. I'm sure your husband will soon be back. Few days after, it became clear to everyone that they could no longer keep the news from Ojiugo, who was already troubling everyone. It was now 3 weeks since Okafor's death. That morning, Ojiugo had just had her bath and just finished having her breakfast when her mother and some of her family members, also the family of Okafor and some of Okafor's friends, all came to her house. She began to shake in fear. She was already sobbing. She said to Akudo, "Hope it's not what I'm thinking. This one Mama is here." She accused them. "I know you people have been lying to me all these weeks." Akudo and some of the women that were close to her consoled her and asked her to be calm. Her mother said to her, "Ojiugo, you just have to calm down. Listen first and hear the reason why we came." Ojiugo tried to pull out of their tight grip. She was asking them to leave her. So after some time, when Ojiugo was calm, one of Okafor's friends, named Collins, broke the news of Okafor's death to Ojiugo. She screamed, calling out Okafor. She wished it was only a dream. Everywhere suddenly went. Ojiugo could no longer feel her legs or her heartbeat. She was badly hit by the news of Okafor's death, her beloved husband. She cried, throwing herself on the ground. The women pleaded with her to take it easy, so she could not harm herself nor her unborn child. "God, where are you? Okafor, this is not we discussed too. You promised we are coming back to come and witness the birth of our first child. Oh God, I'm finished." She continued to wail. As they tried to console and pacify her, Ojiugo went into premature labor pains and was also unconscious, so they quickly took her to the Federal Medical Center for proper care. Fortunately, the doctors were able to revive Ojiugo, and few days later, her health condition became stable, so they had to perform an emergency C-section to save her and her unborn child. Ojiugo, who have not yet recovered from the shock of the sudden death of her husband, few days after the C-section, slipped into a coma. Ojiugo was in coma for over 2 months. It was her sister Akudo and few family members and some friends that assisted in taking care of her child, who was also admitted into the neonatal intensive care unit. Due to the circumstances surrounding his birth, it was a trying time for the both families as they hoped and prayed for the survival of Ojiugo and her son. They were also grieving Okafor's death. However, after 6 weeks of Okafor's death, his family decided to bury Okafor, as it was the custom of their people not to leave the corpse of a young person who died in his prime for a long time in the morgue. When Ojiugo regained consciousness, she held on tightly to her son, not allowing him out of her sight one bit. She was afraid that something bad could happen to him. She looked at her son. She continued to weep. The doctors and every family member and friends pleaded with her to take heart. Her mother and her younger sister Kudu, who were with her at the hospital, were her strong support. Her mother, Mama Ojiugo, advised her not to entertain any fears. "My child, don't bother yourself. Don't be afraid for your son. God will keep him for us. So just relax." Ojiugo spent 4 months in the hospital, and when the doctor certified her fit to return home, she was discharged from the hospital and asked to come back for her checkup once a month. When Ojiugo returned home, she continued to grieve the loss of her husband Okafor. For months, she could hardly eat without calling out his name to come join her. She held on to his clothes and his personal property, mumbling words that nobody could hear or understand. It was getting so bad that her family could not leave her all by herself. She was losing her mind. So her family had to send her to her aunt in Lagos, who suggested that all Ojiugo needed was to leave that environment, which kept reminding her about her late husband. They had to talk and talk to be able to convince Ojiugo to travel with her son Dikanna to Lagos to go live with her aunt. Few weeks after, Ojiugo and Dikanna, her son, traveled to Lagos. Her aunt Carol welcomed them heartily and warmly into her home. "You are welcome, my child. I'm deeply sorry for your loss. It's so heartbreaking, but there's nothing we can do. We cannot fight God. As we all know, death is inevitable. All we are praying to God is just to live long. I'm also happy to see that your son is fine." "Thank you," Ma Ojigo said to her. It was tough for Ojigo to start a new life without her husband and also raising their son alone. Her aunt Carol had a daughter named Chioma. She was in primary school and was there to help keep Dikanna company. She soon became Dikanna's elder sister. Madam Carol made sure Ojiugo and her son Dikanna lacked nothing. Weeks later, Ojiugo joined her aunt in her restaurant, which was located in the heart of the town. Ojiugo put herself into the business. She was of a great help to Madam Carol. Soon, Ojiugo started to bounce back to her normal self again. She became that vibrant and free-spirited woman that she was before death took away her husband. Even though she missed her late husband so much, she was still thankful and grateful to God that she had Dikanna. Dikanna was the exact resemblance of his father. She saw her husband Okafor in him and would always call him my husband, Dimoma. Years later, Ojiugo decided to leave her aunt's house to start her own life with her son. She was now able to save enough money from her aunt, who paid her salary every month and helped her save the money all these years she has lived with her. Ojiugo was so thankful to her aunt for being a pillar of support to her and her son. Her aunt Carol gave them shelter all these years, gave them food, clothing, and every necessary need. Ojiugo had no need or any pressure to spend her money. The night before she left her aunt's house to her new home, she thanked her aunt so much. "God bless you, auntie, for giving me hope to live again. You held me up when I thought I was going to die. God used you to sustain my son and I, and I'm eternally grateful and not taking it for granted. Thank you for being selfless and so kind to me and Dikanna, loving and taking care of us like your daughter." Ojiugo continued in a humble and thankful tone. As they were still talking, Dikanna walked to Aunt Carol, hugged her, and said to her, "Mama, thank you," with this wide smile on his face. "Thank God, my son," Carol replied, looking sad. "Ojiugo, you know I'll miss you and Dikanna. You know you have also been of immense support and help to me at the restaurant. You just need to start this new phase of your life. You really need this. Just make sure that you bring your son for me always." "Yes, auntie, sure, I will do so." They both smiled and hugged each other. The next morning, Ojiugo left with Dikanna to her new home in another part of Lagos to start a new life. When Ojiugo was young, she had this interest in baking. She had loved to be a baker. Even when she came over to Lagos to live with her aunt, she gave all her time watching all the baking shows on the TV. Her aunt supported and enrolled her into a catering school, and she majored in baking confectionaries. She graduated from the school as one of the best students. The school wanted to retain her as one of the instructors, but she declined the offer. She has never wanted to work for anyone. She wanted to be self-employed. So when she moved to her new place, she rented and opened a confectionery shop where she baked and sold cakes and other confectionaries. Her cakes were so tasty and delicious. They were so good that she soon became a household name in that area. She sold both in wholesale and retail to her customers. Ojiugo and her son, all these years, have shared this deep bond. Since the death of her husband, they clung to each other. They could hardly stay without each other. They ate together, were always in each other's company. They did everything together. The only thing they never did together was having their bath. Years back, when Dikanna reached school age, whenever Ojiugo took Dikanna to school, it was difficult for him to leave her. He would grab her clothes, crying, "Mommy, please don't leave me. Mommy, please don't leave me here." It took the efforts of the teachers to talk and plead with Dikanna before he would allow her walk out of the classroom. And Ojugo would weep and weep as she left Dikanna in the care of his teachers. Ojugo transferred her love for her late husband to Dikanna, her son. She called him Dimoma, my husband. They were so attached to each other that even her family members were concerned. As years went by, as Dikanna grew into a teenager, it dawned on Ojugo that her son was growing into a man. This reality she had wished she could postpone. She was having this fear that one day Dikanna was going to leave her and start his own life. When Dikanna was in secondary school, his classmates teased him. They called him mother's wrapper, as Ojugo would bring him to school in the morning and would happily come pick him from school after closing time. This she did every day. Dikanna wanted to be free from his mother's clutches, but Ojugo was not ready to give in to his pressure, as he has always told her mom, "You know I'm a big boy now. Please leave me to go to school now. I can walk myself to school and also come back home. You need to see how my classmates are teasing me. They call me mama's boy. And mom, you have to stop calling me the mama in the presence of my classmates. It makes me shy." Dikanna continued sadly, even though Ojigo knew that all that Dikanna was saying was the truth, but she could not help it. She loved Dikanna so much and was not yet ready to accept this new reality. Dikanna had this crush in his class. Her name was Ugochi. She said to him one day, "Dikanna, you have to become independent. If you continue like this, you would find it hard to make any decision in life without your mother's approval. I know you really love your mother so much. You have to let her know that you are no longer a baby. You have to grow up. I know this is not good for us. I cannot help it. I love my mother so much. She is my all, and I cannot exist without her. She has really sacrificed a lot for me, and I cannot help it. We have just become inseparable. I get this feeling," she said. "You know I'm an only child too. Just that our circumstances are different. My both parents are still alive, while your dad is late. So it's not going to be easy. So I would suggest you apply to another state for your university education instead of attending one in Lagos, just to help her to begin to get used to staying alone without you," she said. "This is so good. I've never thought about it." As his face glittered in joy, Dikanna made up his mind to apply to other universities outside Lagos. One evening when they came back from their shop and they were making dinner in the kitchen, Dikanna said to Ojugo, "Mom, I would like to attend a technology university outside Lagos." "Ha!" Ojugo screamed. "Just say you want to leave me now. Which one is School of Technology, kwa? You talk as if all the universities here in Lagos don't produce good engineers. What is so special about the ones outside Lagos?" "You are reminding me that you are not a big boy," she said sadly, trying hard to hold back the tears that were forming in her eyes. This has always been her fear. "But mom, that is not the reason. I think it would be better there." Dikanna had to talk and talk for weeks to reassure Ojugo that it was a good decision for him. "Mom, please now. You know I will miss you too. It will not be easy for me, but I need to grow. We both have to accept this new phase of our life. As it is always said, change is constant. Please, Mom, be open-minded and just pray for me to gain admission in the university of my choice. This came as a big blow to Ojiugo. She was not yet emotionally ready for this. She knew she needed to stop being clingy and overprotective of her son. This was her current reality, so she should not stand on the way of her son's success. One fateful day, as they were walking to the shop together, Ojiugo said to Dikanna, "My son, I have really given deep thought to all you have said about gaining admission in another university outside this state. Dikanna, you know I love you so much. I know it's not going to be easy for me, but I cannot stand on your way. If this is what will make you happy and fulfilled, there's no problem. But I just want to assure you that you get tired of seeing me in your school. You cannot stop me from coming to see you now. Mom, you know I would also love it," Dikanna replied, feeling relieved. At least Ojiugo was listening to him. So after his senior WAEC, Dikanna passed in flying colors and he gained admission into one of the School of Technology that he had applied. He made up his mind that he would be staying in the hostel, even when Ojiugo tried to discourage him. She wanted him to live outside school, but Dikanna, knowing his mother very well, knew that Ojiugo may decide to stay for days just to be with him whenever she visited. But with the hostel, she had no choice but to return back. So during matriculations, Ojiugo was there. She brought lots of cooked food and fried chicken and drinks for Dikanna to celebrate with his friends. They hailed and called her Mama. "You are the best mother of the year." Dikanna's friends could see this pure, genuine love and bond that existed between Ojiugo and Dikanna. She cried and hugged Dikanna as she left back to her base. So Ojiugo visited Dikanna every month as she has promised. She brought lots of foodstuff, cash, and everything that would make life comfortable for Dikanna. His friends nicknamed him Mother's Boy. Dikanna could not go into any relationship with any young lady around him. They believed that his mother was the one running his life and affairs, and they were not ready to have a fight with a clingy mother. And this struck him badly. He was getting fed up with his mother's excesses, but he did not want to cause her any pain. She had suffered a lot in life. Dikanna made his mother proud. He graduated with a first class and was able to secure employment with a foreign engineering firm as one of their senior employees. The job came with a very good pay, a beautiful house and a car, and also travel expenses. Ojiugo made sure she always called Dikanna on the phone regularly. She would always ask him, "My husband, what did you eat today? Hope you slept well." Dikanna felt choked by his mother's regular calls. He started avoiding her calls, and anytime he did not take her call till evening, she started crying on the phone. "Dikanna, you don't want to take my calls, Abi. You know I really miss you. Because you are with those girls twisting their tiny ways for you, then you forget your mother," she said, weeping on the phone. Ojiugo was building a castle on an empty nest. She was not accepting her reality. She has not yet known that Dikanna was a grown man, no longer her little boy. Ojiugo visited Dikanna every month. One weekend, she landed as usual, without prior notice. When she knocked at his door that morning, Dikanna, who was not expecting her, was surprised, though sad, but kept a smiling face. He was happy to see Ojiugo. "Mama, hope all is well. How was your trip? This one that you are here this early." My son, I said let me come early so I can make lunch and dinner for you today. You know I've really missed you. It's now 6 weeks that we have not seen," she said, walking into his living room. That afternoon, Ojiugo made lunch and they ate together. Dikanna, who had been thinking about telling his mother about his newfound relationship, he was searching for the right words to use so as not to hurt her or cause her any pain. As they sat in the living room after lunch, Dikanna said excitedly to Ojiugo, Mama, it's even good you came today. You'll meet someone that have been making your son so happy. Who is that? She exclaimed in a jealous tone. Mama, don't bother yourself now. When you meet her, you will love her, he said as they walked back to the kitchen. Later that evening, the doorbell rang. Dikanna went to get the door, and it was Isioma, his girlfriend. He welcomed her heartily into his home. She said quietly in a nervous tone, I hope your mom would love and accept me, she asked, as she made herself comfortable on one of the sofa in the living room. I'm sure she will, Dikanna answered assuringly. Just make yourself comfortable as I go get her. Mom, Mom, Dikanna called as he entered Ojiugo's bedroom. Soon, Dikanna walked into the living room in the company of his mother. Good day, Mama, Isioma greeted humbly. Ojiugo, whose face was very sad, her heart skipped when she sighted a young and pretty woman sitting on one of the sofa. She quickly pretended and continued to fake a smile. You are welcome, my daughter, she said. So you are the one making my son happy, she teased her. But Isioma just smiled, not knowing what to say. Look at this useless girl. She thinks she can come and take my place in the life of my son. As they chatted and familiarized, she was so furious when she saw Dikanna smiling sheepishly at her, totally ignoring her. With his tender gaze on her, she said to herself, girls of these days, they don't even have shame. See how she's just so free in my presence, opening all her teeth. Did I ask her to open her teeth? That evening, Dikanna left with Isioma on a date. Mama, I will be back very late, so just take care of yourself. Don't keep dinner for me, Dikanna said as they left the house. Ojugo was sad that Dikanna, her son, was not even thinking about her feeling. See how he just left me to be all alone by myself, just because of that small girl. Look at this boy, you. He's just joking, she said as she lay on her bed, waiting for Dikanna. She stayed awake throughout the night until Dikanna returned. So the next day, Ojugo joined Dikanna in his bedroom, looking so sad. Dikanna was surprised to see his mother in such mood. Thank you so much for watching this story. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed. Also, share your thoughts in the comment section. Let's discuss more on the moral lessons we have learned from this story. And please don't forget to like and share this story with your loved ones and friends. And until we meet again next time, stay blessed and bye.